Hello out there, my precious ghouls and goblins. You come on into the fog. I'm Taylor, your casual crypt keeper, and I got something for you today. Today, we are going to be taking a trip around the globe to take a look at some spots that'll make your EMF reader set off like crazy. Grab the crucifix, set a salt circle out, because today we are going to be taking a look at the top 5 terrifying places that are home to demonic entities. Hey, you let me know down below which of these places you would just love to go ghost hunting yourself someday, and which of these places you couldn't get paid to go. Now let's dive on in, why don't we? Number 5, the Aradale Asylum. Aradale Asylum in Victoria, Australia is the largest abandoned asylum in Australia, a dubious distinction, besides the honor that it might be the most haunted building in Australia as well. The asylum first opened its doors in 1865, and on first opening used to bear a much more wild name, being the Aradale Lunatic Asylum. And it's 130 years of active service. Over 13,000 people are said to have breathed their last inside the asylum. So is it a wonder the place is thought to be haunted? Aradale was hardly a place built to help the sick. It was commissioned to help empty jails out and accommodate the increasing number of insane people in Victoria who were being locked up. Now, the conditions for what made someone legally insane back then were generous, to say the least. These would include people with Down syndrome, epilepsy, autism, even women suffering from postpartum depression. Oh, the lunatics. The asylum was structured more like a prison than it was a hospital. The walls were designed to give off the illusion of freedom, designed cruelly to be sloped, which meant from the inside they were too tall to climb over, and you could tell that, but from the outside they looked low and didn't suggest imprisonment, meaning it looked welcoming and inviting while you were coming on in, but then once you were locked in you realized you were trapped. Unsurprisingly, the place did not treat its patients particularly well. Lobotomies were common practice, oftentimes without anesthetic. So these days, even though the place has been abandoned and doesn't see patients anymore, it's quite the popular spot for ghost hunting. There are complaints of feeling cold drafts running through the old offices. Scary banging can be heard on the walls. Now Aradale is closed, but they do offer tours, and one tour guide spoke out saying, "I was the biggest skeptic of the paranormal imaginable when I started. I've changed my mind completely. I've seen things here, heard things in here, felt things in here that I can't explain." There was a paranormal group that came through, and when they tried one of the restraining jackets on, one of them started screaming, "Get it off me! Get it off me! Get it off me!" And when they took the jacket off of him, there was a bite mark on his neck. That's one of the things I can't explain, and I can't either. And hey, if you're looking for a vacation to a haunted spot, you don't even have to leave your room. You can stay right where you are, because you can subscribe to Top 5 Scary. We have got more haunted sites than you could ever visit in a lifetime, all just a click away. So click on through, hit the bell, stay subscribed, and don't miss a single thing. But do that once the credits roll in this video, okay? We got way more haunted stuff coming for you. Number 4, Leap Castle. For 700 years, Leap Castle has proudly stood in Ireland, boasting a infamous reputation as the most haunted castle in the world. I'm sure Dracula is deeply offended by that statement, but he's mostly fictional, so really, what can you do? This castle was first built in the 13th century, home to the O'Bannon clan, but it would be adopted by the O'Carroll clan, who seized control of it by the 15th century, and they did not seize control nicely. From here, ownership would pass from father to son, but was frequently punctuated by plots, assassinations, rival clan wars, and even O'Carroll family members assassinating each other were all par for the course for Leap Castle's history. Think like Succession, but 10 times worse. A grim oubliette where prisoners would be pushed from a window, landing into a pit of spikes, completed the castle. After centuries of battles and brawls over the castle, it was burned in 1922 during the Irish Civil War, where it was then abandoned. Now it goes without saying that a castle that saw this much death is a home to a bevy of trapped spirits, the most present one being the chapel spirit. Legend has it that one of the O'Carrolls had his own brother assassinated to gain power. His brother, a member of the clergy, is said to restlessly wander the burnt out chapel. Visitors report seeing beams of light, the smell of burnt rubber, and the shadow of a priest in the stairwell. There's also stories of a young girl named Emily who fell from the rampart in the 16th century and tragically lost her life. There's stories of seeing the young girl walking atop the battlements, dragging a misshapen leg as she walks. Today, you can visit Leap Castle if you're feeling daring enough to contact the owner Sean Ryan, who does offer private tours. It'll be you, him, and all the spirits you can handle. Number 3, Baciu Forest. Our next entry is going to take us to Transylvania, to Romania, the Baciu Forest, and please do forgive me, my Romanian ain't quite what it used to be, and it was never much to begin with. The forest is beautiful, if not more than a little haunted, with countless reports of all kinds of paranormal activity stemming from within the hectares of the creepy, bountiful woods. The place kind of looks like it's the set to a Halloween movie as is, with the twisted trees curling ever outwards. Now, there are many legends and stories coming out of the forest. It's even been called the Bermuda Triangle of Romania. According to one particularly exciting legend, a girl went wandering in the forest one day to escape the difficulties of life and take her mind off her troubles. She found herself lost in the forest and nature, but she never returned. Her family looked and looked for her, but to no avail. They never found her and assumed that their daughter had passed until she reappeared and walked home 5 years later, unsure where she'd been and didn't remember anything of the experience and hadn't aged a day on her. That is far from the only strange thing that's happened here. Take a listen to this folktale. A shepherd and his flock of over 200 sheep were said to have vanished without a single trace. You'd think there'd be one footprint out of 200 sheep. Another story tells of a woman who went wandering through the forest and came back and discovered she had a 15th century coin placed in her pocket, as if a ghost left her a little surprise to take home. In the 1960s, biologist Alexander Sift photographed a strange object that he saw above the sky of the Hoia Baciu forest, which would gain notoriety as a UFO sighting. I'm gonna stop and ask here, basically, what wasn't happening here that was supernatural? Is there anything normal natural about this forest, or is it just all haunted all the way down? If we've had any Romanian viewers, you may let us know about this one. Yeah. Number 2. Castle of Good Hope. Coming up next on our list of haunted hotspots is the Castle of Good Hope in Cape Town, South Africa. It was first built in the 17th century by the Dutch East India Company, so bad vibes there to begin with. It's the oldest colonial building in South Africa, and if you believe the local legends, is allegedly one of the more paranormal spots in the entire country. Now, the first ghost sighting came from 1915, when a tall, pale, mysterious man dressed in black, much like yours truly, was spotted walking seemingly out of nowhere alongside one of the castle's ramparts before vanishing as soon as he appeared. Huh, well that's pretty weird and seemed like an isolated incident until in 1947 this same strange man just couldn't stop appearing, making regular visits and check-ins for the castle weeks on end. He would be seen jumping off the castle's wall, seemingly plummeting to his doom, only to reappear again, to do it all again. Maybe he's just having fun. I imagine being a ghost is dreadfully boring. He kind of sounds like a sick ghost, all things considered. Sounds like he just wants to bungee jump, hang 10, vibe out. I could get down with this ghost. Another popular ghost story from the castle is that of their former governor, one Peter Gijsbert van Noot. You try saying that 5 times fast, I barely made it through that once. He passed in the castle in the 23rd of April, 1728, the same day he had sentenced 7 army deserters to the death sentence. Now the story goes that one of these soldiers hexed him and demanded he face and watch the execution. Van Noot was apparently more than a little bit squeamish at this prospect and refused the invitation. And if you believe the stories, later that day was found dead at his desk, slumped over. And some believe his ghost still wanders the castle's halls. And he's far from the only spirit reported to inhabit the castle. There's also reports of hearing a man and a woman arguing outside of a guard station, and as well, a lady of the manor who visits esteemed privileged ghosts. Imagine that, getting haunted by the 1%. Number 1. The Hellfire Club. Now, don't get your hopes up too much. The party won't be meeting for a D&D session with Eddie Munson anytime soon at this Hellfire Club, although the name might come from it. I'm not sure, to be honest. If the Duffer Brothers want to clear that up for me, let me know. My DMs are open. The Hellfire Club in Dublin, otherwise known as the Montpelier Hill, was once home to a hunting lodge in the 17th century owned by one Richard Parsons, a man obsessed with black magic and the occult. It's said that the Hellfire Club was a club for Satanists, and the leader was referred to as the King of Hell and would dress like the devil during meetings. Honestly, sounds like kind of a fun club. All meetings, they left a seat open just in case Lucifer wanted to drop by for a few hands of poker, clink some glasses with them. Stories go on to say that members of the Hellfire Club participated in all manner of dark and sinister ritual, sacrificing cats, goats, and if legends are to be believed, even the servants of the Hellfire Club were offered some membership package. Now, there's a very famous story out of the club that says one fateful day, a strange man appeared and asked if he could join in at the card game for the night. As there was always an open seat, they offered it to him. And during the game, a player dropped his cards, and when he went underneath the table to retrieve them, saw that the strange man had hooves. in place of his feet. And upon rising from the table, the stranger had vanished. Probably for the best. I cannot imagine that a game of cards against the devil would be beneficiary for anyone except maybe Satan. I would not call his bluff. I would just fold every hand. The building was scorched and set ablaze in 1750, with many differing accounts as to what caused the flame. Some say it was the club itself that set the building on fire to give it a more intimidating appearance and keep out outsiders. Some say the devil did it as retribution for a ritual, and some say it was just a duel or a brawl that ended badly and got a bit rowdy. Whatever the case, the Hellfire Club relocated their activities sometime around 1760 and abandoned their original building, where it still stands today. You can visit it today, and it's a pretty popular tourist destination for urban explorers and paranormal investigators who want to see if perhaps there's any residual black magic in the soil and walls there. Well, my ghouls and goblins, that's about all she wrote for this one. Thank you so much. Creep on creeping on, and I'll see you in the next one, provided I don't get offered as a human sacrifice. Take it easy.